Do you ever find yourself just like wasting time on your phone doing something that is like not just pointless, but like dumb as well as pointless?
I don't do anything productive on my phone.
Like, what's the dumbest thing you do on your cell phone?
The dumbest thing?
Other than like midget porn.
I watch YouTube videos incessantly.
I watch that a lot, but I don't think that's the dumbest thing. Cause you can learn stuff from YouTube videos. I've learned how to cook, but I had this stupid like phone game. It's called Eggs Inc. And you just make chickens. And I just pull it out throughout the day and just sit there holding down a button, making millions of chickens.
Do I need you to wear these because there's a delay?
No, you don't need to wear them.
And it's making it hard to talk.
No, you're good.
I can hear myself, and then
and
there's like a half-second delay, and therefore
I can probably
my brain scrambles.
Yeah, I can probably figure out that half-second delay. I just need to fuck with it some, but I'll do it later. They're not really necessary as long as the like audio is clear.
Cool.
Yeah, but yeah, this is episode 2 of the Very Serious Podcast. I'm here with Dustin Batson, aka Green Chartreuse's most notorious ex-boyfriend. That's a fucking mouthful. AKA my dad, AKA father. And my name is Steve, spelt with a PH.
Steph.
It's actually, I guess technically pronounced phonetically, it'd be like...
Oh, P first?
Yeah.
Like pterodactyl, P silent.
Yeah, it's like me in the morning. It's P first. I do that before I even get out of bed.
Wait till you hit 30, then it's poo first. It's still P first, technically.
Yeah, I remember I used to have the best morning shits when I was in the Marine Corps because I would drink coffee and smoke cigarettes in the morning. And that's just like, especially like that shitty field MRE coffee. That's like the best way to excavate your bowels.
I've never been a coffee person, so first thing in the morning, I'd wake up and just drink water and then go PT.
I didn't like coffee when I was in garrison, but in the field, I liked coffee. In Korea, they had coffee flavored cigarettes. And I remember I would have one of those with like the shitty field coffee every morning. And it was like the highlight of my morning.
Is that recording or no?
Yeah, it's recording.
Okay. Well, it had red light, so I didn't know.
Yeah, the red light is record.
Oh.
Yeah. And then green is it's good to record, and blue means don't press the button, dummy.
Okay.
I think it means there's no memory card in there. I barely know how to use this shit.
I can't even hook up a printer.
Yeah.
So, good on you.
I mean, it's been cool learning how to do all of this stuff. I learned 100% of it through YouTube.
YouTube University, man.
Yeah.
Saying that for years.
You can learn a ton of stuff about like random things on YouTube. I accidentally got sucked down a wormhole of like Batman history.
Yeah, you're welcome. For someone who hates Batman as much as you do. For your weird philosophical reasons.
I hate Batman's ethics. I don't hate Batman as a character. I just hate the like, and like the inherent hypocrisy of like this like categorical imperative of like his like ethical structure. And I think that the like concept of a categorical imperative, it is like, what's the word? Reductive, I guess. I don't know. It's like counterproductive because like if you think morality is objective, it doesn't necessarily mean that there's no nuance. And it just means that there is a definitive right or wrong.
Well, it's like a wild card as far as the justice systems goes, because you have all these people that are, restricted by red tape and bureaucracy, and then you have this guy who's just a force of nature, essentially, that can just do his own thing.
Well, one thing that I do like about Batman is that, like, I feel like DC has an issue with, at least with a lot of the, like, more, like, big-name superheroes, with the exception of Batman, that they get so powerful that it gets, like, kind of ridiculous. There's not really any, like Superman, for example, that they had to reset the comics for Superman in the 90s because he had every superpower. And it was like, well, what's the point in making an episode? They're all going to end the same because no one can do anything to them.
I think the Marvel has that same paradox, but with the villains, they just keep getting more and more like crazy powerful, and I agree that Superman's definitely overpowered.
Yeah, but with Batman, like he always maintains, even with like some of the silly stuff, he always maintains the fact that he is human and therefore he can be killed.
That's why I like him also, is because he relies off his brains. You know, the original concept for Batman, he was like the world's greatest detective, so
Yeah.
he could, you know, outsmart anybody, and he had a plan to kill any of the Justice League members at any given time. You ever melted a barrel? Well, probably not. You're Mormon.
No, but we did break a lot of barrels. We broke on one range because we were shooting on lava rock, and we were shooting all charge 4, which for 81s is a lot of fucking force. We snapped 2 bipods we snapped a collar on a bipod in half. We snapped a leg off a bipod, and we snapped 2 base plates in half, and we fractured a barrel, all in the course of like a day and a half. And then the battalion commander showed up to yell at the entire FDC for having us shoot charge 4. And we're like, I mean, that's the only way we can shoot it at the ranges they're calling in, man.
And you were 81s, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we broke so much shit.
When we were in Afghanistan, we used to have mortarmen come out with us, and they would take the 60s, and they would just open the door and then, like, you know, brace the base of the 60, like on the Humvee, and just trigger pull it. It was badass. They were super accurate that way, surprisingly.
I've heard people have used that to like breach walls.
I mean,
you like just aim the 60 like directly at the wall and fire in. Obviously, you want to be a pretty good distance back because those have a pretty good distance. But I mean,
what's the arming distance on a 60?
I don't remember what the arming distance is, but I know the casualty radius is at least 25 meters for a 60.
Which is weird because it's only a little bit more than a M67 frag. I think it's like 15 meters.
Yeah.
It's casualty radius, 5 meter kill radius.
It might be a little bit more than 25 meters. I know the 81 is 50 meters. Like if you drop an 81 in the middle of a football field, you're going to fuck up everyone on that field. Most people in the crowd are going to take shrapnel.
Well, the Army has like the 120s.
The Swedes make this super cool one. You know that car company Saab?
Yeah.
So they make this 81 millimeter mortar where they use a like more explosive compound, but instead of making it have a bigger explosion, they just use less of it because they can get the same explosion using less. And then they filled all the excess space with a shit ton of steel ball bearings so that you can like basically fire a claymore. But the fuse that it has on it, you can set it so that it'll go off when it gets to about waist level. And so you can,
everyone in half.
Yeah, you can just literally shoot claymores from like 3,000 meters away.
That's badass.
Yeah. The U.S. military doesn't have them because they're very expensive. So if a hot tub is cold, is it still a hot tub?
No.
Is it just a tub at that point?
Would it be a jacuzzi? Like what's the criteria for jacuzzi? Is it just bubbles or is it heat too?
I feel like a lot of people say they have a jacuzzi when they just have a tub that does bubbles, but when I think jacuzzi, I think hot tub.
So.
Yeah, like if I'm in the middle of shitting in my bath and I fart a little bit, it doesn't become a jacuzzi. Yeah. So I think that it has to have heat. So in that case, if you're in a hot tub with your boy and it gets cold, you're just in a tub with your boy. Is that gay?
Is eye contact involved?
Probably.
Oh, no.
Rad. Yeah, as long as there's as soon as you break eye contact.
As long as you say no homo.
Yeah, then it's good.
Yeah.
You've seen To Catch a Predator, right?
Yes.
Good. I'm on the next season. I'm kidding now. But I was thinking, wouldn't it be great if they had like To Catch a Predator, but for serial killers?
It would be To Catch a Serial Killer.
Yeah, but I'm saying like Chris Hansen does it. Like some
I don't think
guy
you'd survive the first episode. It's a one-time special edition.
I'd like to think like it's just some FBI agent saying they're like, oh, I'm just a defenseless old woman. There's no one to protect me, and I'm gonna leave my door unlocked tonight. And the guy comes in, and Chris Hansen's just in the living room, like, please take a seat. So you're the whore strangler. You strangled 47 whores.
That'd be funny if it was just a new host every single episode. It's like slaughtered.
The serial killer's like, well, I'm going to jail. There's police outside. I'm killing you. Fuck you, Chris Hansen.
One last hurrah.
What if Chris Hansen was a pedophile?
That'd be the epitome of irony.
Yeah.
He's projecting himself on all these people.
it would be really weird when he walked in on like himself. like Chris Hansen comes in to molest a kitty and walks in, and Chris Hansen's saying there like, please, Chris, take a seat.
That'd be some weird parallel dimension shit. Some Black Mirror stuff.
I might be doing too many drugs.
Probably. Speaking of which, when's the last time you dropped acid?
Man, I think it's been like a month or so. I still have a bunch of shrooms I have to do. I was going to take them, and I got actual food poisoning the night before, and I just don't want to do shrooms with food poisoning.
Yeah, I mean, you already threw up with shrooms. What was the most intense, crazy trip you've ever had? Shrooms or acid?
Ooh, I actually was just talking to my girlfriend about this. So it was like the third time I ever did LSD, because I did a bunch of reading on how acid works, and I really want to see what a bad trip was like, because a lot of the like expert like acid heads were like, yeah, there's no such thing as a bad trip. It's just kind of like how you perceive it. And so what I did was I waited till I had a really shitty day, and I took 2 tabs that I was told were like basically half doses for microdosing. And it turns out each tab had like at least 2 tabs worth of acid on it. So instead,
instead of half tabs.
Yeah, instead of half tabs, I took like double tabs, and I got fucking blasted, and I was in a terrible mood. And I remember I was like because my friend's boyfriend sold it to me, but it turns out that he didn't like me, and he thought it'd be funny because he knew I was trying to have a bad trip. And so my friend called me and was like, hey, I'm really sorry. He gave you a very large dose. Don't take both. And I was like, I already did. She was like, are you doing okay? And I was like, I'm freaking out right now. I'm not having a good time. And she said,
you aren't freaking out,
man. She said, Steven, I can't tell if you're fucking with me or not, because you sound very calm, but what you're saying makes you sound very distressed. And I said, I am very distressed. And she said, if you're not going to be serious about this, I'm going to hang up. And I said, please don't hang up. I'm very distressed. And then she hung up because apparently I just had no emotion in my voice. And then like, I remember I like lay down on my bed, and it felt like I was in this like crazy storm outside, even though I was just in my bed. And it was probably like 20 minutes, but it felt like I was there for like an eternity. And then it felt like I was like trapped under the ocean. And then all of a sudden it felt like I didn't exist anymore. And like, I just like became one with the universe. Like I ceased to be me. And then like, I like moved, and I looked up, and I was laying in my bed with my dog, and I was just pouring sweat. I was like, fuck, man, I need to go for a walk. And I went for a walk, and I thought about like what I was doing, because at the time I was going to college, and I was working to try to become a lawyer and get into like politics and shit. And I hated it. I had spent so much time like reading both sides of like the political argument that I just hated everyone. I was like, both sides are terrible. You all suck. And I just realized that like no amount of work in politics from one individual will fix the system, because it's just super fucked. And then I thought about it, and I was like, well, growing up, growing up, I didn't want to do this. I want to like tell jokes. Like when I was a little kid, I wanted to be a stand-up comedian, but because my humor tends to be kind of dark, I was like, well, if I do that, I'll never be able to get a normal job, because who the fuck's going to hire someone that said that and there's a video online of it?
You're just Anthony Jeselnik or something like that?
Yeah. Well, I also don't want to get typecasted or like pigeonholed, but I thought about it, and I was like, I'd rather fail at doing something I want to do than spend all my time working at a job that I hate. And then I dropped out of college and became a stand-up comedian. So I'd say it was a pretty wild trip.
Now look at you. Now look at this studio.
Yeah, look, drugs pays off.
My most intense trip was actually, besides DMT, was shrooms. And so I've been doing the little mushroom, or the little tabs or whatever.
Yeah, like the little pill capsules.
Yeah, and I've taken shrooms before, and usually like a bunch of little tiny shrooms. They're about the palm size.
Yeah.
Well, I asked this new guy if I can get some shrooms. He's like, sure, man, $40. I give him $40, and he gives me a bag that has 3 mushrooms in it, and they are turquoise. And I was like, man, I got ripped off, and I've never seen shrooms this color. And I was like, this is already kind of sus, but I did it anyway. I just got off work from Elixir. I was sitting there as a patron, and I just downed these shrooms, And then I go to my apartment, and realized after I got a phone call that I'd just been sitting in the dark this whole time.
Yeah.
And I was talking to someone, but nobody's there. I live alone, and it was just me and my dog. So I don't know who I was talking to. But my friend Whitney gives me a text. She's like, hey, I'm at Murphy's Law. Come here and, say hi. Because she lived on the other side of town, and I didn't see her very often.
Yeah.
And I was like, nope, I'm not in the right state of mind. So I texted her back. I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. And then she kind of like guilt tripped me, and I was like, fuck. And then, Murphy's Law is like a block away from where I live.
Yeah.
So I was like, fine. So I walk outside, and it was that day that we had that crazy thick fog.
Mm-hmm.
So I opened the door to like
That'd be
Silent
horrifying to see
Hill
on fucking
style fog. And I could hear voices in the fog. It's like Saturday night. And I'm just like, oh shit. And I'm looking around for like a melee object to like beat away the zombie kids whenever they come attacking me. So I was like, all right, I had a mission in mind. I was like, I'm focused. I'm going to go to Murphy's Law. I'm going to say hi to Whitney. I'm getting the fuck out of there. So I walk in. Mind you, I realized after the fact that I looked ridiculous. I'm like wearing slacks and Crocs with no socks and a hoodie with no shirt underneath it, and I'm sweating profusely. So I walk in, and it's packed. It's packed to the gills. I was like, fuck, I can't handle this right now. And then Lee Cross is the first person I seen. He's right by the door, and I was like, okay, don't talk to me. Like, don't even acknowledge my presence. I'm gonna act like I didn't see him. And I start walking, and then he puts his hand on my chest, and he's like, hey man, are you okay? Which is not something you tell somebody who's tripping balls.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, why? And he goes, because I can't see your irises right now. And I was like, oh my God. He's like, I'm tripping balls right now. And he's like, yeah, dude, I see that. So I was like, oh fuck. All right. So I walk through the crowd, and I feel like I'm walking all weird, like, that meme that has what's that chick that said she was Indian but she wasn't, politician?
Oh,
Warren.
Yeah, Elizabeth Warren.
There's Leah. That meme where she's like, I feel like it's how I was walking to the bar. So I walk through this crowd, and I drink green chartreuse a lot. So the bartender, as soon as she sees me, she pours a shot at chartreuse. So she sees me, she pours a shot of chartreuse, and she's like, and she never smiles. And she smiles and like puts on the bar and then looks at me and like immediately pulls it back. She goes, what are you on? And I was like, I'm on tripping balls. And she was like, oh shit. I was like, yeah, thanks. I was like, I'm looking for someone. And they're like, drink this water. So I look over to my right, and I've never met this woman in my life. It's just a random woman. She doesn't know me. She obviously doesn't know Whitney. And I looked at her, and I was like a lost kid at the mall. I was like, do you know where Whitney is? She was like, baby, I don't know who Whitney is, but I'm going to help you find her. And like grabs me by the hand and just like going to table like, is this Whitney? Well, Whitney sees me eventually, and she's sitting at a table full of drag queens because they just got out of
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no, this is not good. So I'm sitting there at the table, and they're rubbing on me like, you okay? And I was like, ugh, like all cringy. So I was like, all right, I said hi, I gotta go. So I'm leaving, and this guy, you know him? He comes to the bar all the time.
Yeah.
So he sees me, we lock eyes, and he immediately just points and starts laughing hysterically. And like at this point, I freak out. I just sprint out the door, and I run back to Elixir, and I was like, I need you to call. I'm not gonna drop names of who.
I'm gonna bleep
dealt me
out all the
drugs.
names.
Okay. I need you to call right now because I was like, he laced my shrooms, and they're like, what? I was like, call right now. They're like, he's at third floor. I'm like, I can't handle third floor right now. I was like, call fucking and see what he laced these fucking shrooms with. So they call, and then they, apparently they're like, hey, they're just really potent shrooms. They're not anything. And I was like, oh my God, there's no way. So I walk outside, and I puked the most violent puke of my life. Like, I don't know how I still have eyeballs in my head. I puked so hard. I was just like, blah, and there's nothing in my stomach other than water and lemon juice because that's what they said, like, makes it more intense. So I puked that out, and after that, I was like leveled out, and I was like, oh, thank God. But that was the most intense trip I ever had.
Shrooms are like a whole different beast from acid. One time I took 7.5 grams of shrooms. I like made into a tea, and
very heroic dose.
Yeah, there was a period where I thought that the shrooms had given me the exact strand of tuberculosis that killed all of Edgar Allan Poe's family, and it was going to drag me back in time into the 1870s, and I was going to die of influenza. And I was just pacing around my apartment at like 2 a.m, just blasted on shrooms before I realized, wait, I'm doing drugs, and that's silly.
Well, I was trying to go to sleep, but then the thought in my head came up that I was actually in the hospital somewhere. And
Yeah.
I was like in a medically induced coma, and if I went to sleep, I was gonna die. So every time I tried to get sleepy, I had to stand up and like walk around my apartment. I was like, oh fuck, don't want to die.
I've had that weird thought on acid before where I'm like, if I hold still, I'm going to die.
Yeah. One time when I dropped acid in New Orleans, I was walking around New Orleans and I was just like, I'm in hell right now. Like I'm dead and this is hell. And I legitimately thought that. Like
New Orleans is a kind of sketchy place. So I feel like, what's weird is, have you ever been to Disney World?
yeah.
So they have a French Quarter style, like,
I went there when I was 5, so I don't remember anything. So
okay, well, they have this French Quarter style resort that looks super nice, and it makes New Orleans seem like a really nice, badass place. But I was thinking about it the other day, and like, I went to a luau at Disney World, and I've been to Hawaii. Like, I lived there for like 4 years. I've been to multiple luau's. And the hands down, the best luau I've ever been to was at Disney World.
Really?
So now I feel like if I go to New Orleans, I'm going to be like, this place is terrifying in comparison.
You're probably gonna go to all the touristy areas like Bourbon Street and the French Quarter. There's so many cooler places in New Orleans besides those places. But that's where everyone always wants to go just because you see it on TV.
Yeah.
And the only time I ever go to those places is if I bring somebody who's never been or doesn't go very often. And the first thing they want to do is like go to Bourbon Street. I'm just like, fine, whatever. But usually when I go alone, I don't even leave my mom's house, really. I play video games and shit. I mean, I grew up there, so I've seen it all and done it all.
Yeah, well, it's funny you say that because when I think about, like, not drinking, it's kind of hard to, like, talk to people for, like, planning out, like, vacations and stuff. Because when I go to talk to people and I'm like, oh, what should I do? Almost all of their recommendations revolve around drinking.
Same thing with food. Like, and Jim Gaffigan kind of had a really good story. Like, vacations are just eating at different places.
Yeah.
And essentially for younger single people, it's eating and drinking at different places. Like, oh, you should check out this bar. You should check out this bar. And then I realized, like, you could do that here.
Yeah.
Save yourself a lot of money.
Yeah. Or just smoke weed. That turns out to be way cheaper.
I get debilitatingly paranoid on weed. I do not do well with weed. I'm very sensitive too.
The paranoia is good for you. I like the paranoia.
Which is weird because I really only dabble in psychedelics. I don't do coke or I don't do anything injectable, not meth. I've taken Adderall a couple times, but it's literally just to get a very specific like task done that I need to focus on.
Yeah. I took Adderall once and it made me sick. Like I threw up.
It didn't make me sick, but you get extremely horny and you lose all ability to get a boner.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah. So I had this girl like, she was in bed. She was like ready to go. And I was just like, smacking it around. It just wasn't working.
Yo, that explains why angry all the time. He just does too much Adderall for college.
Too. He just chugs monsters and punches drywall.
Yeah, it's going to be hilarious that you said that because I'm going to bleep everything but that part. And now anyone who thinks about it for a second is going to be like, I don't know why he bleeped his name. We all know what it is. I'm going to make sure he sees that clip.
That's fine.
It's going to be great. I feel like I was born in the right century. Like a lot of people say they feel like they were born in the wrong century, but like this is the only century where you can send 4K images of your butthole to your senator. Like,
well, they have that new unsolicited dick pic thing. Does that exclude buttholes?
It's not a dick pic. Also, if you use a VPN, I'm pretty sure they, what are they going to do? Like go around looking at, inspecting everyone's butthole. Is this your butthole? We need to do a side-by-side comparison.
It's like a lineup of buttholes.
Yeah, they just start like.
They just bring everybody in a room. Like, all right, turn around, bend over, spread them.
The FBI is like, we track the ISP down to this region. We're just gonna arrest everyone. They're gonna come up in lines and just spread their cheeks.
Yeah, instead of a breathalyzer, it's a buttholeizer.
They can tell from they taste it to check for the picture. This doesn't taste anything like that picture.
Yeah, it's very vinegary.
I remember.
I feel like every NASCAR race would get so many more viewers if it was like Twisted Metal, like the video game,
or if they turned right occasionally, not to crash. Also for that, because that's fun to watch. But like, if the track wasn't just a big fucking circle,
like an Uno car gets put down and it's like reverse, and everyone has to like U-turn and 3-point turning.
That would be great.
You go the other way. Nobody even know what to do.
Yeah, Just have like you know how in elementary school they'd have you do like sprints from one side of the gym to the other.
Yeah.
Have just like a straight drag strip and have them do that. You have to like race to one end, U-turn, and come back. I'd watch the fuck out of that.
And then everybody's like, if the people that get to the end faster and then they U-turn or 3-point turn and come back and then are like going head on.
Yeah, you have to try to dodge the other cars. It's fucking great. This is sounding more like the Twisted Metal idea. The more we get into it,
right?
Fucking. Did you ever see? Do you watch rally racing at all?
Rally racing?
Yeah,
I don't know what that is.
It's like this like almost off road
like rally
race.
cars. Yes.
Yeah. Did you ever see the Killer Bees?
No.
It was this rally series they had, and I forget what year. I'll have it pop up, but they had like very little limitations on what you could do to the body and engine. And so people were making the cars like crazy fucking light and putting in like stupid powerful engines. And they had to cancel it because there were so many crashes and deaths. And one dude accidentally, like there's a video of this dude crashing and rolling his car multiple times through a crowd.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's a lot of crowd engagement at that point.
Yeah, they told him to up his crowd engagement. And he was like, I'll fucking show them crowd engagement.
Crowd annihilation. I don't know. I had nothing. I'm sorry.
It happens.
I'm not a comedian.
Yeah, and that's why I'm a horse sexual.
Is that a thing?
Probably.
Or is that a new astrology sign? I can't keep up with that shit.
I don't know, but I have a horse dick.
I thought there was like 13 now. There was like a snake one or some shit. Or was that just like a fad?
I think that's just a fad, but I do have a horse dick. Not like on me. I keep it in my freezer so it stays hard.
Nice.
Let's
was attack that, Steve?
What was it? You had that one trip to New Orleans where you came back and you like got out of your truck and you like walked over to me and I think it was Kat and I said it was Kat and Kevin and we started talking about fleshlights and I was like, yeah, did you hear about that new fleshlight thing they had? It comes with real human teeth and you were just like, I'm leaving.
Yeah, there's that movie. It's called Teeth, I think.
Yeah.
I've never seen it, but that's horrifying.
It's not that good. It's funny to watch. Like I recommend watching it, but it's not good.
I mean, I've got enough blowjobs from girls where it's basically a reenactment.
Yeah. Have you ever seen Get the Gringo?
No.
It's the best Mel Gibson movie ever. It's about like picture Meet the Millers, but if they cast Mel Gibson, we're the Millers. But they cast Mel Gibson as the main character, and
he just rants about like anti-Semitism shit or whatever.
No, instead the movie starts with him stealing with a bunch of stolen money in a botched robbery, launching his car with his dead partner in it over the border into Mexico, and then immediately getting arrested by the Mexican police who steal all the money and throw him in a Mexican prison, which is filled with no guards apparently, but a bunch of
the sequel to Thelma and Louise should have been.
I don't think I've seen that one.
They land
over
the canyon.
Yeah.
And, what happens next? Did they make it or didn't make it? They didn't fucking make it. Women can't drive.
Yeah, they definitely didn't make it, but Mel Gibson made it, and he fucking ended up in this Mexican prison. No prison guards, just a bunch of like cartel dudes with guns. Everyone in the prison had a gun, and there's a shootout scene where someone throws a grenade at him, and he shoots it out of the air, and it explodes. And it is my favorite scene in any movie.
I've done that in real life.
It's the most Mel Gibson scene I've ever seen.
I did with a 6-shooter. It's holster too.
In the middle of Afghanistan, there I was with my 6-shooter. I saw one of them Talibanis from a mile away, and I popped his head off.
And I shot it like right out of the air.
Yeah, yeah. I remember when I was in the Marine Corps, I 360 no scoped a bunch of dudes. It's just like Call of Duty, right?
Right. Yeah.
Hey.
I'm actually in respawning right now.
Yeah.
I'm actually about to go back to Afghanistan. 3, 2, boop.
But yeah, we're gonna call it there. So thank you for coming on, and
thanks for having me.
I'll figure out a name for this episode.
All right.
I'm gonna call it Father.
Daddy.
Love you, Dad.
Love you too.